Hey guys, Sean here. I know it's been a while. It's been a long, crazy, wild season, but better late than never. This is my 2023 race season recap. Alright, yeah, so the last video you saw was probably me back in Jamaica announcing my whole race season. Well, I did all of that. So I think it was like 5 races. I did a 5K race, a sprint triathlon, a 70.3, and a full distance Ironman. So I think it went pretty well. There was a lot of ups and downs, but overall, all goals accomplished. So we'll go all the way back to April of this year. I did my hospital's charity run, the 5K. I've always wanted to sub 20 a 5K. It's a pretty hilly course, so it's not the best one to do it on, but I do it anyway to support the place that I work at. It's a great cause. And so last year, in 2022, I did 22 minutes for the 5K. And then this year, 2023, I did 21 minutes and 8 seconds on a pretty hilly course for a 5K. So almost there. I did a 1 minute PB. I'm happy with that for a 5K distance. It's a really short distance, super intense. You want to vomit at the end, but it was good. So I'm almost there, like a minute. I need like a minute more. I need to cut a minute down and I'll be there. Maybe I'll try it on a flat course next time. But that was a great start to the year. My top end speed was right there. The knives were sharpened, so I was good for the rest of the season. Pretty confident in that. And then after that 5K race, we moved into tri season. So the first one was a sprint triathlon in Milton, Ontario. And I finally got to race my new TT bike, the Trek Speed Concept Disc, which you can see in a previous video. I hope you like that. That race went well. That's also a really hilly course. It was a good bike, good swim, but it was about average, so nothing spectacular there. That's also a pretty hilly course, and everything was okay, but my goggles fogged up. I didn't use a brand new set like I usually do, and I kind of regret that a little bit. The bike was fine, but on the run, I just didn't pick it up quick in time for that sprint distance, and I did okay, but no PB. I just did about even for that one, so that was kind of a meh way to start the tri season, but it's okay. And then during training for the Muskoka 70.3 race, I actually had an accident on a training day. I crashed the bike. I was okay, luckily, this time. In the past, I broke my collarbone, but I was okay this time. However, sadly, my brand new bike broke. I was devastated. Luckily, the bike shop I work with, Evolution Cycles, they were top notch and they helped me get a brand new bike, the same one back, all the replacement parts. They were able to keep a lot of the high-end components and just swap it over to the new frame that Trek sent. Insurance covered that, so I lucked out on that one for sure. And then we were off to Muskoka for the 70.3. Because I had this crash about a month prior, I had cuts all over, so I couldn't really swim in the pool that I trained at or try on like a wetsuit to go open water swimming, because I was super uncomfortable with the bunch of scars that I had and scratches. So the training for Muskoka was not ideal, but yeah, it is what it is. I got to the start line, I finished it, everything was just about meh, and the run was pretty brutal because of the lack of training, but so be it. Life happens like that. Live and learn. The next race I did was Barrelman in Niagara. It's about a 70.3 half Ironman distance race. A bit longer swim and a bit shorter bike and the run. So on paper, it didn't look like it favored me, but actually this was the best triathlon race I think I've ever done from start to finish. I had my fastest swim yet, fastest bike, and my fastest run. I averaged about a 5 minute per kilometer pace for 20 kilometers, which was impressive off the bike. I've never done that before, so I was really happy with that. And And yeah, my coach Miranda Tomlinson of Tomlinson Performance and Wellness, she won that as well. And she also won Muskoka as well before too, so that was pretty cool. I got to see her at both races and she won, and she was the champion of those, so that's always cool to see other teammates on the field racing. My lead up for Barrelman was great, and so I was confident, very confident going in. It's so rare to have a quote-unquote a perfect build leading up into a race, especially a longer distance race like a 70.3 and an Ironman. There was no injuries, no crashes, no digestive issues, no nutritional issues, no lack of sleep or stress leading into it. So when the stars align and something like that happens, you just cross your fingers and then you get a magical result at the end. So I was pretty happy with Barrelman. I finished that whole race, so it was about a half Ironman distance, just right at like 5 hours and 8 minutes. So it's like really close to sub-5ing that, and that's a goal I have for next year, 2024, is to sub-5 a 70.3. That will most likely happen in New York. So we'll see for that. Stay tuned. And then the big goal of the year of 2023, the big AAA race that I had that spans back years, a few years now, 3 years in the making, is Ironman Florida in Panama City Beach. So if you know my story, I signed up for this race in 2020. Pandemic happened. I was iffy on travel would happen or not, so I deferred that race until 2021. I went to 2021, and then there was that crazy riptide, 25% of the field, DNF just to swim alone. Sadly, I was part of that group, and I was super bummed for that, but I learned so much from that race, and I immediately got a coach, Miranda Tomlinson, and she worked on my sighting, swimming straight, and open water swim confidence, and it definitely paid off. This was my redemption year, 2023, Ironman Florida. Again, like Barrelman, I was blessed with the perfect build, no injuries, no nutritional issues. I never missed a workout. Everything was done as prescribed. It was just perfect. And it's so rare again to have something like that for such a big long distance volume training plan leading up to an Ironman, because there's so many variables that can happen. So many things. So I was blessed for this. Got to Panama City Beach. The one thing that I had was this time I couldn't attach I took the base bar off the bike when I was packing it, and I couldn't go on properly. Luckily, professional triathlete Sky Munch and I are friends, so I DM'd her when I got there, and she was racing as well. And she actually won the race, so congrats to you, Sky. Good for you. Just 3 weeks after doing the World Championship in Kona. Wow, I can't imagine that. But anyway, she helped me put the base bar back on the bike, and we were ready to rock. So I landed there on Tuesday, I landed there on a Wednesday, and it was a Saturday race. I love Saturday races, by the way. I have no idea why any big races like an Ironman or a marathon are on a Sunday. And then you have to go back to work the next day. That's nuts. So I'd rather have these big races be on a Saturday, and then you get Sunday off to relax and recover, travel back home if you need to, get back to work on Monday. Should be like that. Let's do more of those, people. Anyway, so actually this race, Ironman Florida, was awesome. It was great. The only one issue that I had the whole day was that my Wahoo chest heart rate monitor strap thing exploded right before, like the clasp broke, so I couldn't put it on my chest. And however, fortunately, this happened before the race started while I was preparing. So I quickly messaged my coach Miranda, and she was like, you know what, just don't wear it at all, because I had it duct taped, and she's like, that's probably going to chafe and be really uncomfortable on the bike. And for me, I don't actually look at the heart rate in a race itself, because my heart rate will just elevate even more, and it's already pretty high. So I don't really look at that. So I just removed it at that point. It was fine. And I'm glad I did that because the race does get really humid and sweaty in Florida. It's pretty hot there, especially for the run. So I'm glad I didn't use that. And it is race morning here at Panama City Beach, Florida for the 2023 Ironman Florida event. Look at all the bikes in transition. The swim, I was worried for riptides again, but no, it was great. It was as good as the ocean could be. The Gulf of Mexico really was nice to us on that day. It was great. Of course, there's still some waves that happen. That's inevitable. But because I've learned to sight well and often, and I have a better swim position than I did before, and I was more confident in the ocean and open water, it all worked out. I had a really good swim. There were thousands of tiny, small white jellyfish. The ocean is so clear. The water is so clear in Panama City in the Gulf that you could see straight down to the sand, and there was like a bed of jellyfish. Fortunately, they were about 3 meters below us, so when I was taking a stroke, I never hit any of them. I didn't get stung. I did hear some people got stung, but fortunately I did not. Swim was good. 2 loops in the Gulf around the pier. After the first loop, I looked at my watch and it said 43 minutes. I was like, whoa, that's well on track. And so by the time I finished the second loop, so the 3.8 kilometers, I did about an hour and 30 minutes, which is exactly what I did in Mont Tremblant the year before in a crystal clear, very neutral lake. So that if I could do that same time in the ocean, that's a living factor in the race, and that was fine with me. The swim is my weakest out of all 3, the swim, bike, and run, so I was pretty pleased that I could match that at least. Then we were onto the bike. It was actually a pretty long run from the swim through transition to get to the transition. We had to go over a bridge, across the road, through the mall parking lot, and pretty long, but it was okay. All the volunteers were great. I got onto the bike. The weather conditions that day were absolutely perfect. We had a bit of a headwind at the first half. It was a nice big loop. But luckily on the way back into town, we got a nice tailwind, so we got a nice push from there. It's really flat in Florida. I've never rode on such perfect roads before, and I think I'm super spoiled now. I think they just repaved all the roads that we were on that year before. It was great. And as I said, it was super flat and fast, and there was only one part that the people there, I guess, consider a hill. To me, it wasn't really a hill, as I train on hills here, but there's a bridge, and there's a bunch of, this is funny, there's a bunch of Trump supporters there, and there was a sign that said, "Trump this hill." And I thought that was absolutely hilarious. The Floridians are great. I love that. That kind of made my day. But the conditions that day were perfect. Not a cloud in the sky. Perfect blue. Sun coming down. Not too hot. Not too cool either. The tailwind coming back into town was great. I did stop at Personal Needs to refill my hydration. That was always on the plan. And at least one other pit stop. However, I did stop briefly 2 more times to use the porta potty, which I kind of regret now because I added on about another 8 minutes. I could have actually sub 6 hour that bike ride if I didn't do that. So next time I could have definitely gone without that. So next time I won't do that. I'll make a mental note of that. And then we were onto the run. Pretty much after I knew I finished the swim, this was going to happen, and after I got off the bike, the dream to finish Ironman Florida really became a reality. So much so that I got ahead of myself. I thought I've learned my lesson in the past to not start off a race or a marathon race, especially an Ironman marathon race, too fast, but of course I did that anyways. I felt good at the beginning. I did the first half, so the first half marathon of that race was great actually, like 2 hours, but I went out way too fast at the beginning because after the halfway mark, my legs just started feeling the lactic acid and getting really heavy really quickly. Every kilometer felt like it was getting heavier and heavier. Aerobically, I was totally fine. I felt like the fittest I've ever been. Just the legs couldn't do it. Like the body started breaking down. And while that's expected, if I started slower, if I paced myself better at the beginning, I could have had more energy at the end for a final push. Now I've fully learned my lesson. I will not do that ever again. Another issue I had was I used the Nike Alpha Flies for this, despite telling myself that in a triathlon to use the Asics Metaspeed as they're more stable and more forgiving, whereas the Nike Alpha Flies are better for an open race, open marathon. When you have totally fresh legs, they are great. But for an Ironman, there is no way your legs are going to be fresh. So better stick with the Asics Metaspeeds for that next time.
From Canada, Sean, Chin, Yee-haw, and Ironman.
Yeah, so that was pretty much my whole 2023 race season. Did the 5K, PB'd my 5K. I did a sprint triathlon. I did two 70.3s, Muskoka and Barrelman. Too bad Barrelman doesn't count for Ironman points, otherwise I would have got my all-world athlete status points, but oh well, next time. It was all fun. And then an Ironman. So 5 races, 2023, it was great. I can't wait to share what I'm going to be doing next year. Now this year, 2024. So stay tuned for that. Peace. Well, 2023 ended off fantastic. I'm really pleased with how everything went, the whole journey. There was ups and downs for sure, but the whole process of training, and I got the end results that I wanted for the races and events that mattered the most. I wanted to say thank you to my coach, Miranda Tomlinson, all my family and friends, my fiance, Jenna, for all her support and love. And I just wanted to say that when you try really hard, you can achieve your goals. And when you believe it, they will come true. I did Ironman Florida, a big goal that I've had for many years now. I finished it in 12 hours and 27 minutes. And that's a 2 hour and 8 minute PR, personal best from my last Ironman in Mont Tremblant last year. So that is an extraordinary feat for me. I'm super proud and happy of that. So thank you so much for all your support and for watching and for following on Instagram on my journey. I thank you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. See you next time.